Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between. Welcome back to episode 4 of Building Bread. I am OverHugs, and today we're going to be doing something with one of my unfortunately least favorite aspects of Minecraft, and that's going to be villagers. Villagers, to quote Green from Hermitcraft, are the worst. Basically, whenever you want them to do something, they don't. They seem to make it a gleeful experience to run away and do the absolute worst thing whenever possible. The problem is that villager trading is one of the most powerful things in the game. And it is your best source of enchants, it's your best source of food, it's your best source of a lot of raw materials, so, we have to do it. But on brighter things, I wanted to show you a bit of the decorating that we did. We did some final detailing of the zombie spawner that we worked on last episode. And so I put in a bunch more textures and changed the lightings up and used some chains, which are new as of 1.16, and some vines just to really give three-dimensionality to it. Also put in a flowing water feature because I like water, and some more water in the floor. So you see that while we've been doing our intro, there's quite a few zombies here, and we can give them a good whack and get a lot of experience. Like, this has been serving us pretty well. While I was detailing, I just walked over and whacked them every now and then, and we're up to almost 40 levels, which is great, and we'll definitely use some of those enchants as we move on with our episode today. So, yeah, so this is basically the final of the zombie spawner, and I think I'm done with this. One of the tricks that you may see if you're eagle-eyed here is we've used string in order to control where the vines grow. I'm happy with it where it is now, so there's a piece of string down here at the bottom, and a piece of string here and a piece of string here that will make sure that it does not grow beyond this one section. Over here is a stair, so it won't grow there because that's not a solid block. We've also used a couple of tricks, like, for example, pressure plates here, in order to give a bit more, again, three-dimensionality and some texture and some pop, as well as this is just a piece of wall, which will connect with everything, so it gives it a nice little pattern that's a little different, and you can waterlog this as of a few versions ago. So, yeah, I think I'm pleased with this, and I think this is done. So what we're going to do is we're going to come out of our area here, and we're going to wander the overworld for a while, and we're going to look for a village. And so villages are things that randomly spawn in Minecraft. They are predictable. So if you know your seed, which let's talk about that for a minute. A seed is what generates the world. Since we're playing in a single-player world, I can just type seed, and it will show you what the seed is for this world. And if you generate a new world in your version of Minecraft, as long as it was Java, and typed in this exact same number, you would get literally this exact same world that I'm playing in. And you're welcome to do that if you want to come and play along. And that's great. Like, as we discover things like the spawner over here, or as you find things that you think are interesting in the world, if you want to tell me about it in the comments, we can explore the world together. That would be fantastic. So, like I was saying, since you know the seed, you can look up things in programs like Amidst or the world map. There's a few websites that will do it where you can punch in your seed. I do like to explore. So we'll wander around for a while and we'll see what we find. Villages are usually prevalent enough to where you'll find some fairly quickly. There's not a tremendous amount of area between them unless you're in biomes where they don't generate. I believe plains biomes are the most common where villages will generate, but they'll do things and you'll get some really cool different looks. For example, in the more snowy biomes, the Arctic biomes and snowy mountains and all that stuff, you'll get some interesting looks for the villages because Minecraft has gone through and created a bunch of really cool different architectural styles and costumes for the villagers and everything. So there's a lot into it, and it's fun to find them. So right now what I'm trying to do is I was coming over to these mountains because they're a high point, and I'm going to go up to the very top here and get as much elevation as I can to try and see if I can... Oh! I don't even have to do that. There's a village right there. Speaking of things that are fairly prevalent, so my basic plan before that happened was just to get to the highest point that I could and look around, basically, to try and be able to find a village, because you see as we're up here we have a pretty good view. And this is also an interesting point to talk about things that are called chunks in Minecraft. A chunk, if you hit F3 and G at the same time, you'll get to see chunk borders. And chunks are sections of Minecraft, and this is how it generates the world. They're 16 by 16 blocks. And what you can do is, as you go through, you can choose in your video options, and mine are going to look a little different than yours because I'm running Sodium, which is a optimizer which lets me get really good frame rates. So you can turn the chunks way up to 32, and it will render 32 different chunks through the world. So as we do that, you'll notice that a lot more of the world will snap in. We can see this ocean and all this stuff that's loading that we didn't see before, because those were chunks that we chose not to render. Part of the reason why we do want to do that is because you'll see right now my frame rate is still pretty good. My computer's pretty beefy, and Sodium helps a lot. But as we're looking around, we're dropping to about 100-ish frames per second, which you can see up here. So let me change it back to where it was, and we'll go back to 16 is about what I generally like to play at. That's enough to see, but it's not so tight that you can't see things like that village that we would have missed on the horizon if it was fewer than that. And now you see the frame rate jumps up. It basically doubles. So this has a significant impact on your computer as you're doing it. So the sun is going down so that we don't get caught out. Let's make our way to the village. All right, we've made our way to the village from our high point over there, I think. And you can see we're about 500 blocks from home. A meter is a block in this game. Each block is a cubic meter, 1 by 1 by 1. I'm trying to speak here. Do you mind? Like, I'm sorry you want to be in the series, but I can't. You moan, you groan all the time. It's hard to work with you. So what we'll do here is we'll give a brief little tour of the village. And right now there are no villagers because they sleep during the night. You can see one of them right here. This is a villager, and this is a farming villager, as you can tell by his hat. We'll go more into that in a minute. But one of the things that I wanted to show off here were the iron golems. And when you gather enough villagers and enough beds to classify it as a village, which I believe is 3, it's either 3 or 5. When you have these, then villagers can spawn these iron golems. And iron golems are defenders. They will go after anything that is considered aggressive. Creepers are not considered aggressive because they don't actually attack, they just come and blow up. Whereas things like spiders or skeletons or zombies will. And he just is super curious about us. Hello. They also hit like a truck. I would show you, but if I attacked him, he would kill me in 1 or 2 hits. They do a tremendous amount of damage, and they have a tremendous amount of hearts. I can't recall off the top of my head if it's the Wither, the End Dragon, or the Iron Golem. And this is also another thing that we haven't seen before. And this is basically what happens if you don't sleep for a couple of days. But you see the Iron Golem is having none of that, and he's going after it. Okay, so that was a phantom. And you get phantoms if you don't sleep for 3 consecutive Minecraft days, which we hadn't been doing because we were... Alright, you know what? This is just asking for trouble. Let's go and find a bed and clear... Okay, here's one that is not taken. And we're going to do this to sleep, turn everything to day, and clear our insomnia counter, which is what summons the phantoms. But phantoms are a relatively new mob. They were done in order to make night a little scarier, but much like all mobs, you see they burn during the day. Anything that is aggressive during the night is either not aggressive during the day, or it burns. Spiders turn to non-aggressive, creepers were never aggressive to begin with, and phantoms burn. So let's take care of this creeper. in a way that hopefully does not destroy the village. And you'll see I'm jumping and attacking. And the reason I do that is because that's a critical hit in combat. Whenever you jump and hit something, it does double damage, so anything to get the creepers out of there earlier. So now we're back in the village in the daytime, and you see villages have a number of resources which are super helpful in the early game. To the point of where if I spawn in a village or right near a village, it kind of feels like cheating to me, and I generally don't like playing on those seeds. Because you notice, here we have wheat, we have potatoes, we have carrots, we have beetroot, like all the things that we would need for food in the early game are right here. As well as, yep, this village has them too, large stacks of hay bales here. If you remember, we had to make these in order to put our campfires upon them to get the high smoke, which we can't see because our house is too far away right now. But if we were able to increase the render distance enough in order to view it, we would be able to see the fire over the hills. But each one of these is 9 wheat, and there's at least 20 here. No, there's more. Okay, there's probably at least 50 of these hay bales here. So we would have enough food basically forever. And it feels like cheating. It makes the early game too easy, so I don't like to do it. But let's talk a bit about the villagers. So villagers themselves, and these are all farmers, you can see them working in their farm, and they become farmers because they have access to this item, which is called a composter. And composters are pretty handy in that if we go through and let's harvest some of this early wheat, and if the farmer has an inventory, you will see them, and we'll create this back to farmland. If they have seeds in their inventory, yep, he just did it. He will replant it. And this is something that we'll use for farming tactics in another episode. But the cool thing about the composter is that it lets you get rid of things you don't need that are organic. Like, for example, I can put the seeds in here, and you see that this composter is filling up. And once I get this to full, which I don't have enough items to do, but once I did, this would pop out a bone meal. And if you're playing in peaceful, then that's the only way you can get bone meal unless you find bone blocks. So this was a great addition for people who just want to play Minecraft and they want to find and get things, but they don't want to worry about the mobs in their world. So we're going to take some of these resources and we'll take these down. A hoe is the preferred tool to work with these hay bales. So we'll take these and we'll convert a few of them to wheat. Because if I find the right, yep, first try, this is what makes villagers so powerful, is the ability to trade with them. And they use emeralds as currency. So this farmer wants to take 20 wheat and will give me an emerald in exchange for it. While we're doing that, you also see they have an experience bar, and they go through several stages while they're leveling up, and they get more trades that are unlocked. So we go through, we get our first advancement, what a deal. And the farmer got a small amount of experience. So what we'll do right now is we'll convert this whole thing to wheat, and we'll trade with this guy and get him to the next level. You'll see he'll get some swirling particles coming off of him, and his badge just changed from stone to, I don't actually know what that is, we'll call it copper. And when we talk to this person again, there are more trades that are available. Now we have a pumpkin trade, which is great. We can also purchase from them pumpkin pie, which is a good food, but we don't have a lot of emeralds right now, so I won't do that. So let's pick up these and get some trades going and see if we can get one of these villagers to a high level and see what they have. Because one of the final trades of farmers are golden carrots, and golden carrots are one of the best foods in the game. Since you get them from villagers through trades, they're much easier to get. You don't have to farm up the cows and go through the feeding process and everything that we've been doing. As long as you have emeralds, you can just buy them straight up. So you also see that as they get to a higher level, it becomes harder and harder to level them up. It takes more experience to get into it. They'll go through novice, apprentice, master, and then I think the final level is expert. So I'm going to go around the rest of the village, and I'm going to pick up all these hay bales and farm whatever crops are available to try and get the villager up to that level, and then we'll be right back. So this is showing some interesting villager behavior. They have a schedule, which I'll put up on the screen, where they will work, they will kind of socialize, where they congregate in the bell, which is considered to be the middle of the village, they will sleep. And it's important to know these times because when we get a little bit further with our villagers, we're going to want to change their professions, which can only be done during a certain period of time. This is a librarian. This will become our favorite villager because they sell enchants. And this becomes the most powerful thing in Minecraft because it's the easiest way to get your gear enchanted with exactly what you want. No messing with the enchanting table and the grindstone to enchant and disenchant things. You just get what you want because you can purchase the books. And one mechanic that we'll get into in another episode is there are ways to lower the prices of these trades over time. You can see now that we've hit bedtime. All the villagers are going back to their houses. So this librarian is going back to its house, their house, and they've found the bed that they've claimed, and they're sleeping. This is also another interesting thing about villages, is they will frequently have these chests. Most of the time the gear's not fantastic, but we'll take the emerald, and we'll take the potatoes, and we'll take the gold. All of those things are actually useful. It's nowhere near as good as the monster spawner loot that we saw. But for now, the sun is going down, so we'll boot this person out of their bed. Now that the day has begun, you'll see the villagers all leave their homes, and they're going to go and congregate and socialize before they start working. This is interesting. We don't see this very often. This has generated where the village is in between a ocean biome and the village itself. You can see as we go down here, we're in the middle of an ocean, even though right up here the village has kind of generated and created a dock. Just neat. Don't see it very often. These mixed biomes end up being really interesting results, and you can see the order of which Minecraft generates the world, because you've probably noticed it if you've got good eyes, but we've walked around sometimes, and there'll be trees that have no bottom because they're over water. Trees get generated before water does in the world, so that's why you end up with that artifact. Alright, so we went around and we kind of harvested, and we almost have a full stack of carrots. We had, by the time that we count up the number of hay bales that we found and broke down, we probably had about 50 of them. As well as potatoes, beetroots, gold, seeds. Like, this is why villagers feel a little cheaty to me, or villages specifically feel cheaty to me in the beginning of the game. So we'll break down all this hay bales because we can get wheat pretty much anywhere. And we'll see how far we can get this apprentice going. I don't think, yeah, we're not going to have enough in order to get him to the next level, but we'll see if we can pop him, which we didn't. We still require quite a bit to get him up there. We may have to buy some pumpkin pies. How many do we need to buy? Not that many. For the sake of the video, let's do that. If I were playing single player, I wouldn't. But for education, one more. We're one short. Get back here. We'll spend the money and get the pumpkin pies. So you'll see he's now going to a gold badge, and he should have unlocked some additional trades, and let's see what he's got. We have cookies and melons, and you'll see because we've traded with him quite a bit, the trades are getting cheaper. Like, either he or she, villagers are kind of genderless, which is a good thing. So we'll just call them they from now on. Because we've traded with them quite a bit, they get to the point of where the trades are getting cheaper. And that's one of the ways that we can go through, but we'll go through all the other ways that this can happen in a different episode. That's a different episode, I should say, and be consistent. So basically it looks like we're going to need more emeralds. So what we'll do is we'll trade, and you also see as we trade we get experience as well. And we have a wandering trader that came and visited us. This is just our lucky day. Wandering traders randomly spawn. You probably saw one during the time lapse when we were building our house, but at that point in time I didn't have all the data packs that I normally have installed, and we didn't have any emeralds. So the problem is that they would have had nothing worthwhile. But with the data packs that we have installed, they have some fantastic trades. What we have enabled is for our data packs is we have the Hermit Pack Heads data pack, and a data pack just changes the behavior of the game in small or large ways. We tend to stick to very small ones. But you can see we could buy these heads of whoever is our favorite hermit. I like False, so we'll buy False's head. And we can put this on, and voila, we look like False Symmetry. If you aren't familiar with Hermitcraft, it's a fantastic web series. I highly recommend it. It's been going on for 7 different seasons. I'll put a link in. If you don't know what it is, then I envy you with the things that you're going to discover. Fantastic series. But in addition to that, they also sell mini blocks. And now what we can do is we can trade with this. It is 1 emerald and then whatever item for mini blocks of the loom and mini blocks of the chest. And these are largely just used for decoration. The cool thing is you put them down and they're just like this. So, I don't know, are these wearable? I've never actually tried. Can I put this on my head? Let's see. Yes, I can be Chestman! Chestman is here to save the day, to store all your valuables away. It's funny to me. These are largely valuable for not only just to have silly things to put on your head, but also to have the ability to go through and use them to label storage. That's primarily what I use them for. So that's the Wandering Trader, and normally they will have some decent things that are early game. There's not a ton, but by the time that you have enough emeralds, you generally have most of this. The exception is blue ice, which takes 81 regular ice in order to make, so it's very difficult to get. I always buy blue ice whenever I see the Wandering Trader later in the game when I actually have emeralds, but we want to save our emeralds for villagers right now, so back to that. So let's talk a little bit about what you can do with villagers, aside from trading. One of the things you can do is villagers are considered a mob, even though they are the closest things to humans that this game has. And because of that, you can also breed them. Let's throw 3 bread at each of these villagers. And I don't know why you're running away from each other. That's inconvenient for my explaining here. You're really making things difficult on me here, Mr. What are you? You're a Mason. Come on, come on, come back. We'll call you Perry Mason. Where are you going? No, I'm trying to get you to come. Remember when I said villagers are the worst? Yeah, villagers are the worst. They are the absolute worst. All right. Now, we've gone around and done a few laps of the various little farms here and gotten enough food to where we can do this experiment again. It is about midday right now, so I'm going to wait for the villagers to stop working and congregate here at the bell so that we don't have the same incident that we had last time with somebody just running away and ruining the entire experiment and the point of this video. So, until then, we'll be right back. We're now at the point of time where the villagers are congregating, and this will make things much easier. So, let's see what we can do about making bread. I don't know if we're going to be able to get enough in order to do this because it's kind of hard to figure out who our villager is. We know it was you, Mr. Unhelpful. So, let's give you... try to give you. Alright, I don't think that's gonna work. So it's gonna rain food. We're just gonna give them food, carrots from heaven! And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get to the point of where these villagers have enough food in their inventory where they will breed. And you see they're trying to throw it to villagers that don't have it. When one of them has enough food, they will share with others, which is great to see, and it's lovely to see generosity, that they share what they have. So, other things that they will eat is they will eat potatoes, they will eat beetroot, most crops they will eat. And, alright, there we go. We finally gotten to a point where 2 have enough food. And the hearts mean they're trying to go and breed, and if it's successful, we'll see a little villager pop out of nowhere. If it's not successful, we'll see that. We'll see thunderclouds, which generally those thunderclouds means that something is wrong, and it's almost always that there aren't enough beds. Each villager requires a bed in order to be able to exist in the village. And when they reach equilibrium with a number of beds, they'll stop breeding and they'll stop trying to produce more villagers. So we're going to try and see if we can find sheep around here quickly. This almost certainly won't be enough wool for a bed because we need 3. And we got 2, right? Where are you, my sheepy friend? Don't be bashful. Oh, and we got 3 wool from that one sheep. Perfect. Snip you. Snip you. This is where you were all hiding. You can see the iron golem just tossed something in the air. He's going around killing these zombies right here. They basically 2-shot. You can see how they're a force to be reckoned with. But as they're taking damage, they're transforming and they're looking more and more broken. Eventually, they will lose all their hearts, and whatever mobs will kill them, because they are getting hits in. And when that happens, then the villagers will try and spawn another iron golem. But you see, this guy just took on 3 different zombies without even breaking a sweat. Oh, so this might just... Ooh. So you're hearing the zombie tried to break down the door there. That's what happens in Hard. You hear that bang, bang, bang as they're attempting to break down the door, which is why we replaced our home door with iron. So let's get this going to the next day. Alright, so now it's the next day, and we're burning all the zombies, and you can see the iron golem is just cleaning up. This is why I did not want to hit it, because it would wreck me. So now we've reached the gathering time once again, and all the villagers are coming near the center. And so what we'll do is we will throw out all the food that we have and try and spread it around a bit to see if we can get these villagers breeding once more. Okay, good. Let's see. Have we done our job? Is the experiment a success? Will we get a baby villager? Maybe. No. No, we will not. Wow, this is full of fail. Oh, no, I do. I hear one. We did. We had a success. Here is our baby villager. And these take, I believe it's 10 real minutes in order to grow up. And with that success, I think we're going to call it a day. So I want to thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. And as a reminder, I donate all profits that I make off of this series to local food pantries, because we could all use a bit of a helping hand, especially right now. So please, if you've enjoyed this, learned something new, or had a laugh, take a moment, like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified whenever I make anything more if you'd like. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic day. I've been OverHugs, and have a good one.